What if I told you there are foods you can eat that contain zero carbs, don't spike insulin, and help you stay in ketosis 24 hours a day without tracking, stressing, or falling out of fat burning mode? Today, I'm giving you the only 10 zero carb foods you actually need on keto, and I'll explain the science behind why they work and how to use them in real life. Most people don't fail at keto because they're weak, lazy, or undisciplined. They fail because they were taught the wrong enemy. They were told fat was the problem, calories were the problem, willpower was the problem. But the real enemy has always been insulin. And insulin doesn't need a cheat day to shut down fat burning. It only needs a crack, one small crack, a splash of sauce, a healthy bite, a handful of something labeled keto but quietly loaded with carbs. And that's how ketosis dies, not loudly, not dramatically, but silently in the background while you think you're doing everything right. Here's the uncomfortable truth backed by decades of metabolic research. Your body cannot burn fat and store fat at the same time. The switch between those two states is insulin. When insulin is low, fat is released from your fat cells and burned for energy. When insulin rises, even slightly, fat burning shuts off, not slows down, shuts off. Studies using metabolic chambers have shown this again and again. Fat oxidation drops within minutes of an insulin rise, even if calories stay the same. That means you can be eating keto calories and still be metabolically locked out of ketosis if insulin is being triggered all day long. This is where most people get blindsided. They cut bread, pasta, sugar, soda. They think the job is done, but insulin doesn't care about your intentions. It responds to chemistry. Carbohydrates, especially hidden, processed, or liquid carbs, trigger insulin far more aggressively than people realize. Even so called low carb foods can cause repeated insulin pulses when eaten frequently. And here's the shocking part, it's not the big carb meal that destroys ketosis long term, it's the constant drip of small insulin spikes throughout the day. That pattern trains your body to stay in storage mode. Research on insulin dynamics shows that frequent eating keeps insulin elevated for most of the day. In modern eaters, insulin can remain high for 16 to 18 hours out of every 24. That means there is almost no time left for fat burning, no time for cellular cleanup, no time for ketone production. This is why people say keto worked at first and then suddenly stopped. What really stopped was their ability to keep insulin down consistently. Zero carb foods change this equation completely. When carbohydrates are truly zero, blood glucose barely moves. And when glucose doesn't rise, insulin stays flat. Clinical studies on carnivore style or zero carb diets show near constant low insulin levels, even when calories are adequate or high. This is why people eating zero carb often report something that sounds impossible: steady energy, no cravings, and effortless appetite control. It's not magic. It's physiology finally working without interference. Here's another fact most people never hear. Insulin is not just a blood sugar hormone. It's a storage hormone that tells every cell in your body to stop releasing fuel. When insulin is present, fat cells lock their doors. Muscle cells reduce fat uptake. The liver stops making ketones. This is why even a small insulin response matters. Research shows that insulin suppresses ketone production at very low concentrations. You don't need a sugar spike to shut ketosis down. You just need enough insulin to send the signal. And that's where carb leakage becomes deadly to progress. Sauces, seasonings, sweeteners, keto snacks, protein bars, nut flours, sugar alcohols. These don't look dangerous, but metabolically, they add up. Each one creates a small insulin wave. One wave doesn't drown you, but wave after wave, hour after hour, day after day keeps you stuck. This is why people feel hungry on keto, tired on keto, frustrated on keto. They are never actually in ketosis long enough to feel its benefits. Zero carb foods eliminate this problem at the root. They remove decision fatigue, they remove tracking, they remove hidden chemistry. Meat, eggs, animal fats, salt, and water do not trigger insulin in a meaningful way. Protein does raise insulin slightly, but without carbohydrates, that insulin is paired with glucagon, a hormone that protects fat burning. This balance has been measured in clinical settings. Protein alone does not shut down ketosis. Carbs do. There's also a deeper layer most people miss. Constant insulin elevation doesn't just block fat burning, it damages metabolic flexibility. Over time, cells become resistant to insulin, forcing the body to produce even more of it. This is how prediabetes develops, then type 2 diabetes, then fatty liver disease. Studies show that non-alcoholic fatty liver disease now affects more than 25% of adults worldwide, and insulin is the primary driver. A fatty liver cannot efficiently make ketones, so even if you try keto later, the machinery is already damaged. Zero-carb eating gives the liver a break. When insulin stays low, the liver unloads stored fat. As liver fat decreases, insulin sensitivity improves. This has been shown in imaging studies where liver fat drops dramatically within weeks of carbohydrate restriction. And as insulin sensitivity improves, ketosis becomes easier, deeper, and more stable. This is why some people feel like keto suddenly clicks after going stricter. Their liver finally turned back on. This is also why hunger disappears. Hunger is not a willpower problem. It's a hormonal signal driven by insulin, leptin, and ghrelin. When insulin is chronically high, leptin signaling breaks, and the brain thinks you're starving even when you're overfed. When insulin stays low, leptin sensitivity returns. The brain finally hears the message, we have fuel. You can stop eating. This effect has been documented in low carb and ketogenic trials, where spontaneous calorie intake drops without conscious restriction. So the real keto problem was never that keto is hard. The problem is that most people are not actually doing keto at the hormonal level. They're doing low carb cosplay while insulin quietly runs the show. Zero carb foods strip away the illusion and expose the truth. When carbs are gone, insulin falls. When insulin falls, fat burning turns on. And when fat burning turns on long enough, the body remembers what it was designed to do. This isn't about extremes, it's about clarity. You don't need perfection. You need consistency at the hormonal level. Zero carb foods give you that consistency. They buy you time in ketosis, and time in ketosis is where healing happens. Not overnight, not in a week, but day after day, hour after hour, with insulin finally quiet and metabolism finally free. People don't really want ketosis. What they want is weight loss. And that misunderstanding is the reason so many people work hard, eat clean, follow keto rules, and still feel stuck in the same body. Ketosis and weight loss are not the same thing. Ketosis is a metabolic state. Weight loss is a possible outcome, and confusing the two has quietly sabotaged millions of people who thought they were doing everything right. Here's the science most weight loss advice avoids saying out loud: you can be in ketosis and not lose weight, and you can lose weight temporarily without ever fixing the metabolic problem. What decides long-term fat loss is not how low your carbs are on paper, not how many calories you cut, but how much time your body actually spends with insulin low enough to allow fat to leave your fat cells. That time is everything. Research in metabolic wards shows something shocking. When insulin is elevated, fat cells become locked. They physically resist releasing stored fat even when calories are restricted. This is why calorie-restricted diets fail so often. The body responds to calorie cutting by slowing metabolism, increasing hunger hormones, and defending fat stores more aggressively. Insulin stays high, fat stays trapped, and the brain panics. This is not a motivation issue. This is biology doing exactly what it evolved to do. Ketosis changes the fuel source, but time changes the outcome. Ketones appear in the blood relatively quickly, sometimes within 24 to 72 hours of carb restriction. That early ketosis feels exciting. Energy improves, appetite drops. But fat loss does not happen in that first window. Fat loss happens later, quietly, when insulin has been low long enough for the body to trust that it is safe to let stored fat go. That trust takes time. Studies on fasting, ketogenic diets, and low insulin states consistently show that meaningful fat loss correlates with duration, not intensity. It's not about how extreme your diet is. It's about how many hours per day and how many days in a row insulin stays suppressed. Even brief insulin spikes can interrupt this process. One spike doesn't erase progress, but repeated spikes reset the clock again and again. This is why people feel like they're starting over every week. There's a hidden mechanism here most people never hear about. Fat cells don't just store fat, they communicate with the brain through hormones. When insulin is chronically high, fat cells become inflamed and resistant to lipolysis, the release of fat. They send distress signals to the brain that increase hunger and reduce energy expenditure. This has been measured in studies showing reduced resting metabolic rate after repeated dieting attempts. The body learns to defend itself against weight loss. Ketosis alone does not fix this. Time in ketosis does. Extended low insulin exposure allows fat cells to calm down. Inflammatory markers decrease. Insulin sensitivity improves. The signals sent to the brain begin to change. Hunger becomes quieter, not because you're distracted, but because your body finally has access to its stored fuel. This is when weight loss stops feeling like a fight. Here's the uncomfortable truth backed by long-term data. Rapid weight loss often predicts rapid regain. The Biggest Loser studies made this painfully clear. Contestants lost massive amounts of weight, but their insulin resistance and metabolic damage persisted. Years later, most regained the weight, and their resting metabolism was permanently lower. They lost weight without fixing the hormonal environment that caused weight gain in the first place. Ketosis, when used correctly, aims at the hormonal root, but only if it's sustained, only if insulin stays low day after day. This is why cheat meals are not harmless for some people. For an insulin-resistant body, one high-carb meal can raise insulin for up to 48 hours. During that time, fat burning is suppressed. Do that every weekend, and the body never gets enough uninterrupted low insulin time to heal. The scale doesn't move, and frustration grows. There's also the role of the liver, which quietly controls the entire process. The liver decides whether fat becomes ketones or gets recycled back into storage. A liver overloaded with fat, something now common even in thin people, struggles to produce ketones efficiently. Imaging studies show that liver fat can drop significantly after weeks of carbohydrate restriction, but only when insulin remains consistently low. Intermittent ketosis slows this process. Continuous ketosis accelerates it. This is why daily habits matter more than occasional perfection. It's not about being strict once, it's about being boringly consistent. Every hour spent with low insulin is a signal to the body that it can switch from survival mode to repair mode. That repair includes restoring insulin sensitivity, improving mitochondrial function, and retraining fat cells to release energy instead of hoarding it. Weight loss is not something you force. It's something that happens when the internal environment allows it. Ketosis opens the door. Time keeps it open. And when the door stays open long enough, the body does something remarkable. It lets go, not just of fat, but of the constant hunger, the mental noise, the obsession with food. That's why people who finally get this say the same thing. The weight loss felt almost accidental. So if the scale hasn't moved yet, it doesn't mean ketosis isn't working. It may mean it hasn't been given enough uninterrupted time to do its real job. Healing first, fat loss second. That order is not negotiable in human biology, and once you respect it, weight loss stops being a battle and becomes a byproduct of a body that finally feels safe enough to change.